and welcome again. Really glad that you carved out time to be here with us today. Again, before we jump in, just a quick housekeeping note. If you haven't yet, please rename yourself on Zoom with your name and organization. It really helps us to know who's in the room with us and who to follow up with, like those connection moments that we get during some convenings. For those I haven't met yet, I'm Rod, joining you from Manila, and I serve as the community choreographer at Pollinate Impact, which means I get to design spaces like this where we don't just talk about challenges, we actually start building around them. So let me set the scene a little bit for us today. It's late, you're deep in application review, and I'm sure there are some of us who are in that exact experience right now. You've read dozens, maybe hundreds of applications at this point. And at some point, they all kind of blur together. You're trying to stay consistent, trying to be fair, trying to spot the real signals, but also slightly questioning these life choices. And the thing is, this isn't a small problem, right? Across our network, what we've been hearing and now starting to kind of quantify through this is that screening and selection isn't just a tedious process. It's one of the biggest invisible drains on time and team capacity. Not because intake is necessarily broken, but review takes time, alignment takes time, and also decision making takes time. And the more applications you receive as an organization, the harder it becomes to keep that process consistent, thoughtful, and fair. So today's session, the build table, is really about bringing that hidden work into the open. The build table is where we come together as a network to explore a shared operational challenge today and ask, is this something that we can solve better together? So next slide, please, Kavya. Over the next hour, here's how we'll spend our time together. We'll start with a quick check-in, just to ground ourselves in the room and get a sense of our current realities when it comes to screening and selection. Then we'll zoom out a bit and introduce our collective action teams, what they are, why we're leaning into this approach, why this challenge fits like the right one to work on together. And then from there, we'll share early research insights from with our partner, Impact Intelligence, putting some structure and data behind what many of us have been experiencing intuitively. And then we'll then open it up for your reflections and reactions. What resonates, what's missing, what feels most urgent from your perspective. And then we'll close with a short checkout. All right. So speaking of, also, since all of you here are part of the Pollinate Impact community, if there are other incubators, accelerators, or ESOs in your network who you think should be part of conversations like this, we'd love for you to invite them. And then they would gain the opportunity for all these different things that we have, including the build table today, right? And as a small thank you for that, you'll receive 10% off your annual membership fee for every successful referral. Again, because at the end of the day, the strength of what we build here really comes down to who's at the table. Great, next. And speaking of sessions, you might want to join yourselves or share with others in your network or your team. We have a few coming up that we're really excited about. So the first one, the Funding Floor Conversations with Investor Networks. This brings together two investor networks, one from Kenya and one from Indonesia, to unpack how they collaborate, how they think about pipeline, and what it actually takes to engage with them effectively as an impact incubator. We also have our member orientation coming up on April 1st, which is a great space to get more grounded in the network for those who are new or for those who are wanting to review what the different kind of benefits are of being part of the network. This will be a great way to do that and also get to know some pollinators, fellow pollinators too. Last one is another conversation with investors, but this time with sector specialized ones. We are trying to get one health, one climate, and one gender investor, where we're diving a bit deeper into their specific sectors, exploring what they look for, how they assess opportunities, and how impact incubators like yourselves can better position their ventures within these spaces. Right, so if any of these sound interesting, you can check out our events page on the website to learn more and sign up. And of course, feel free to share them with others in your network as well. Great, so that's it for my pitch for today. Let's get into this. We'll start with a quick check-in. So Tess, please take it away.
Amazing, amazing. Hi, everyone. I hope you are well. My name is Tess Thuo, based out of Nairobi, Kenya. I am the network nurturer. Um, and basically, what I do is facilitate intentional connections for the network. Kavya, if you can have the Mentimeter up. So, we're all here because we all understand, as Rod already mentioned, um, how heavy it can be to review applications. And so some of you might have been part of the initial process with impact intelligence, and some of you may have not. And so I want to take a few minutes to just quantify with us who is in the room the real impact of the application process. And we're going to do some quick collective math to get a concrete sense of just how much time we're spending on this. So I invite you all to join our Mentimeter. The link is on the is on the chat. As well, you could scan the QR code on the screen. So yeah, where are you joining us from today? I see some folks from the Philippines. Hi, Rod. Ghana, Senegal, Rwanda, India. Great. Sri Lanka. Cool. Bangalore. Okay, where are you joining us from? Okay, awesome. Zambia. Okay, amazing. Oh, the UK. Cool. All right, Kavya, we can move on to the next. So which of these have you experienced? Select all that apply. So have you fallen asleep mid-review? Have you mixed up applications in your head? Have you needed emergency caffeine? Have you read the same sentence three times? Have you dreamt about applications? Which of these different feelings have you experienced? Let us know using the Mentimeter. Okay, so I see a couple of us have read the same sentence more than three times. Some of us are dreaming about applications. Okay, let's keep going. Needed some emergency caffeine. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think a majority of us are reading the same sentence twice. Some person has fallen asleep mid-review. Cool. All right. Any last takers before I continue? Awesome. All right. So then, Kavya, we can move on to the next slide. Okay. So then, how many programs do you run annually? Do you or your organization run annually? Take a look at the options on the screen and select the range that matches with your organization. So I see majority of us run one, two, three. Okay, and we have one person. Okay, let's keep going. How many programs do you run annually? Okay, so I see the majority is between one to three. Okay, any last takers? All right, we can go on to the next slide. Thank you. How many applications do you typically receive per program? Go ahead and select the range that best fits your experience. Okay. Okay, we're having a tie. All right. Any last takers? I just need one more person to come and break this tie because we have two people. Okay, so 0 to 50. All right. So 0 to 50 applications typically per program. Okay, but 200 plus as well coming in second. Any last takers? How many applications do you typically receive per program? All right. Awesome. And then lastly, we're gonna how long does your initial application review typically take? So this is like when you receive the application, how long does the initial application review typically take? When you're just screening through for the first time. Okay, less than 5 minutes. We have 15 plus minutes. Okay. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Okay. Any last takers? Okay, so I see 10 to 15 minutes and 15 plus have 3 people. Any last takers? How long does your initial application review typically take? All right. Okay, awesome. So, Rod, do you have those numbers for me? Um, so what we're gonna do
Yes.
is we are gonna put all this data together. So, in terms of applications, I think the average number, Kavya, maybe you could go back to the first slide. The average number of applications, so programs, sorry, uh, sorry, programs. Okay, next. All right. Okay, so programs run annually. So we have 1 to 3 being the majority. Our midpoint would probably be 2, right? So let's say 2 programs annually for all the organizations present here today. Okay. Then applications run. What is our average? Which
I
one do we
think that
pick?
will
50 plus.
be, yes, 50 plus, right? We'll just, this is quick math. So if we are a
Right,
little bit inaccurate, we will solve this when we send out the thank you notes. But basically, according to this, it's somewhere in the 150, 100-ish range. Uh,
right. All right. So that's all right. And then let's go on to the next slide for timings. Okay, so then majority is less than 5 minutes. So let's just say 5 minutes on average with the
or like somewhere
organizations
in 5 to
present here.
10, since it's gonna pull a little bit to the right, right? So like a 5 to 10 average for review. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So I'm just gonna pull these numbers up so we can get to see collectively how we're doing. I hope we're all together. Are we all together? Please give me a thumbs up in the chat if we're together or if we're getting lost. I hope we're all together. Okay. So the most popular range was 1:4. Sorry, just a minute. 1:4. So the midpoint means that we have 2 applications. Sorry, 50. Sorry, we said 100 plus, and then 2 programs annually. Sorry, guys, this is quick math. I just want all of us to follow.
Yeah.
Okay. And the popular time is 5 to 10 minutes. So the midpoint is about 5. So do we say 5 or 10?
Or somewhere in between, right? Like seven
Okay,
minutes.
just 7.5. All right. Okay, so we have about 100 applications
Yes.
times 2 programs
It's two,
times 7.5. What is that
7.5.
quick math? Right.
1,500.
1,500 minutes. Okay, 1,500 minutes divided by 60 for hours,
25.
25 hours. Okay, how many organizations? So 25 hours per organization. How many organizations are present on this group, on this call currently?
I would say maybe 12 to 15
12
organizations.
to 15. Okay, so 12
Yeah.
to 15. Let's say 13. Let's say 13. Okay, so 13 times 25 hours. So how much are we spending cumulatively as a group?
325 hours.
324 hours on initial screening. So that's the amount of time all of us are using on this call in the initial screening process. Now, I want us to go back to our Mentimeter, Kavya. I'm just going to stop sharing and I'm going to ask the question. Um, and you can log in back into Mentimeter. What could you do with all those hours instead? What what could we all possibly do with what was the total? 300 and let me know what could we all do with 325 hours as organizations, as 12 organizations? Someone said take a vacation.
That's
What could
almost
you
two
do with all those
weeks,
hours?
just so we
It's
were
almost 2 weeks
aware.
off.
2 weeks. This 325 hours is about 13 days and a half. So yes, take a really long, very good vacation, definitely.
Thank you for bringing that into context. So it's about 2 weeks. Okay, vacation, read a book. Anyone else? What could you do with all those hours instead? Please log in back into the Mentimeter and let us know. What could you do? Binge a series, learn a new skill. In the context of the entrepreneurs that you support, what else could you be doing with that time as well? Volunteer for advocacies. Okay. All right. I'm just going to get two more answers and then pass it on. Refine the program. Okay. I like that. Watch reels. I like the honesty. Another productive task. Okay. I see you. All right. Thank you all so much for engaging with me in this small exercise as we try to do some quick math on what it would look like if we put all those hours into screening. I'm now going to pass it on to Sophia Rod, I believe,
Yes.
to take it away. So thank you all so much for participating.
Thank you so much, Tess. All right, maybe next page, Rod. Thank you, Tess. That was really insightful doing that quick math live with everybody. Hello everyone. It's really great to see you all today, and especially to those who participated in our AI chatbot interviews last month. We were quite grateful that 20 organizations dedicated an average of 10 to 12 minutes each to complete the interviews last month. So it has really shaped what we're going to discuss today. Um, so at the core of what we do is at Pollinate Impact is this simple idea. Well, we create safe spaces for you, incubators, to connect and collaborate with each other. That's where real progress happens. It is through these relationships that organizations become stronger, more effective, and more resilient. And one of the key ways we bring this to life is through what we call the collective action teams, or CATs. So CATs are member-led working groups where we come together to tackle shared challenges, not individually, but collectively. The goal is to move beyond just talking and discussion, and actually co-create practical outputs. So things like tools and frameworks, as well as solutions that can benefit not just your own organization, but the wider impact incubation ecosystem as well. So the cats are really driven by your interests and your energy. And one of the topic that has recently emerged across the conversations is the challenge of improving how you select and screen entrepreneurs into your programs. So it is a common point, and exactly the kind of cat is the kind of issue that that the cat is designed to address. Next slide, Rod. We anticipate that each cat will have 8 to 12 members who have a real stake in the issue, who bring different perspectives and experiences into the table. So whether you are new, bring fresh, new eyes into the conversation, or even, if you are a more experienced professional with deep institutional knowledge. We are also looking for people who can commit the time. So this is the kind of um, work that takes consistency. So it's not just a one-off conversation, but something that's built over time together. So equally important are the people who are collaborative, but also willing to challenge, right? So we like it when people work together harmoniously, but also we want people to speak up when something is not working, or even, bring in a different perspective when it's needed. So while cats are primarily for members, there is a flexibility to bring in non-members, which is when needed, especially when they bring in specific knowledge or perspectives into the conversation, even those who can build bridges. We're trying to solve systemic challenges in our cats, but we know we can't do it in isolation, right? So we need to hear from, non-incubators, such as entrepreneurs, investors, policymakers, and others who interact in the system in different ways. Next slide. Right. Each cat will have co-chairs and members. Participation is voluntary with, we expect that you will dedicate at least, 3 to 4 hours per month for discussions, sharing insights, and coordination. Co-chairs usually will guide the strategy and alignment, while members contribute into the conversation actively, and they can share the leadership as well with the co-chairs. And from our side, as the secretariat, we will be supporting with administration and logistics to run smoothly. And next slide. We are anticipating that CATS will operate on a 12-week quarterly cycle, meeting at least twice a month or more when needed. It really depends on the CATS plan. And each session will run maybe 1.5 to 2 hours. And we want the CATS to be member driven. So we want you to drive the goals, the timeline, the approach. So next month when we do our official kickoff for the cats, that's something that you will be discussing with everybody. So overall, the cats is about creating a safe space where we can move from shared challenges to now shared solutions together. So if you're interested in joining the cats for this topic, you have the opportunity to fill the interest form later. If you want to learn more about the cats, visit our member-only Notion page, which I will share now in the chat. There you go. That's the link, and it goes into our Notion page about the cats. So now, next page, Rod. To help turn anecdotal evidence across the network into more concrete data on the pain points of screening and selection. We've done both the primary and secondary research and looked at what's already out there, what others have tackled, how others have tackled this challenge, why is it important, and the gaps that remain in order for us to get a better picture of the landscape. So I'll do a quick summary of what we found out in our literature review, literature scan, and later Kim and Gulis from our partner Impact Intelligence will share findings from the AI chatbot interviews, which we run last month. So for the first insight, this is pretty interesting. There's very little research actually done on this topic. We don't know how impact incubators and accelerators make their admission decisions, not at least publicly at this point. The technical process really behind screening and selection is unexplored at this point, right? This means our work in mapping out how incubators actually review applications, the operational implications, and the resources that it takes, right, is pretty groundbreaking. The second insight from our review is that it takes time to review applications and select even like the contenders, right? Across industries, people review hundreds of applications for a single hiring decision. And in academia, it is no different, right? Reviewers go through hundreds of journal submissions just to publish a select few. And even if it's not hundreds, I know, a while ago we saw there are so many, there are um incubator the programs where they see like 50 applicants, right, in per program. That's still quite a lot of applications to go through. So despite, how critical this phase is, there's very little data on the time and costs involved other than what we hear across the network. And it's something that we're now working towards, in better understanding with our research with impact intelligence. The third insight is pretty interesting as well. There are a lot of human limitations in screening. So even, the best teams face fatigue, bias, and inconsistency when reviewing applications manually. Um, for example, there are personal preferences, stereotypes, or even unconscious biases. It can influence one's decision, right? There are reviewers that often vary in judgment. So, meaning the same application actually can receive different scores depending on who reviews them. There are research that shows that when the selection criteria is applied inconsistently, it widens the funding gap and unintentionally puts underrepresented funders to disadvantage, which is pretty sad, right? With high volumes, teams tend to thin slice. They make quick decisions based on the first page of the pitch deck, which could lead to overlooking potential solutions and entrepreneurs. And this is where AI can help, not to replace human judgment, but to support more consistent, fair, and efficient decision making. The last insight is that we see ecosystem experiments, popping up here and there, and it's really promising. However, the full AI integration is quite rare at this point. Um, there are a few tools out there that are aimed towards improving efficiency in incubation. For example, Babele offers a free selection module for impact programs that covers the different stages of, from application to reviews to evaluation and reviewer collaboration, but it doesn't use AI. The Akili platform developed by one of our members, La Difference, it supports entrepreneurs in their uh, peace um, initiatives in the DRC, but it's not focused on program selection. And um, also, Seed Stars uses AI to monitor coaches and guide uh, to guide mentoring engagement, but it's not specifically for selecting entrepreneurs. And I know that through the interview AI chatbot interviews that we've done last month with Impact Intelligence, a few of our members are doing early experiments with AI in the selection processes, which I'm very excited for the presentation later of Gulis, and feel free to also share it in the breakout rooms later. So, in summary, AI shouldn't replace human judgment. It should amplify it rather. It supports fairer decisions while we can make the final call. So with that, we want to create a smarter, more equitable to approach to screening applications using AI. And we would love it for you to be part of this pilot, Cat. So your insights and experience can really help shape a tool that can make a difference. I'll now pass the floor back to Rod. Thanks,
Thanks.
Rod.
So thank you so much for going through the cats with us and this quick literature scan. If anything, like what I realized is that there's still so much evidence that we can pull out. And I think I'm excited to also hear from Impact Intelligence and what we found out from the interviews. But just before that, just a quick kind of break from the audience, the participants. We'd also love to get to know, and I think this will feed into what Kim and Willis are going to talk about in a bit. So we were talking about this with Tess a little bit, but I'd like us to kind of go through which ones for you in the chat does most time and energy go, right? Like in your own experiences, where does most of the time and energy go for you when you're doing your cohort selection? I'd love for you to type your answers in the chat, so think about it. You can share one or two stages, which parts of the process do you feel like the time and energy goes, and then share maybe what makes it heavy. And you can make it as short as possible, just like the examples, right? Like, is it the interview panels because it's hard to align the reviewers, which I can imagine that's really a difficult task to do, coordinating all of that, due diligence, chasing the missing info of your enterprises. So I'll give you maybe 1 minute to think about it, put your answers in the chat, but don't share it yet. Don't send it out. We will do a chat waterfall where we will all send it at the same time. Okay, so 1 minute for you to think and type your answers in the chat. And then when I say go, when I say waterfall, we'll all send the answer together. All right, if that's clear, can I please get a quick thumbs up from the room? Thanks, Ariel. Thank you, thank you. Thanks, Mark, Hazan. All right, great. Awesome. Okay, so giving you a minute to think and type your answer. All right, last 30 seconds. Last 15. Ten. 5, 4, 3, 2, waterfall. Let's send our answers. Awesome. Thank you. I see some of them coming in. Right. Let me go. Thank you, everyone. Awesome. I see a lot of answers. We'll definitely share this out again. And I think this will also be good information for Gulis, Kim, and Nico having this as well. So let me read through and then just see. I see due diligence is coming up a lot, right? And the integrity of the response in a space where many submit AI supported responses, reviewing applications, noticing. So I do see that it's also a concern when they generate the responses through AI support. Application to shortlisting eligible candidates and getting required info from them. So really the first round, yeah, shortlisting sounds like something that also takes a lot of time and energy. And then Uday brought up evaluation consolidation, reviewer scoring differently and aligning feedback into one decision. Interviewing panels, great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. This is really great information. And I think this also truly relates to, spoiler alert, we've talked to Gulis, Kim, and Nico already about the results. So this really does align with a lot of what they're going to say. So I will pass it on to Kim, who will start us off with the kind of insights that we've gotten from the interview. So we'll stop sharing. And Kim, please go ahead.
Great. Thank you, Rod. Hello everyone. My name is Kim. I'm a senior analyst at Impact Intelligence, and I've been involved in the analysis and surfacing the insights of this study, which has been really interesting. And I think you'll find that the insights in this study actually align quite nicely with the literature scan that Sophia shared. So just to set the scene and to talk a bit about the aim of this study. So we really wanted to understand and map the operational and resource implications of application screening and selection across the ecosystem. And so we asked you, the incubators, for your perspectives on your own application review process so that we could understand directly from the ecosystem and discuss how AI can help. So just to quickly go over the agenda before diving in, we'll talk about how we got here, our methodology, how the insights of the study came about, and what exactly we asked you. And we'll then move on to what we heard from you, the scale of the work, who's involved, the time and cost of review, any solutions you already tried, and where it breaks down with some common friction points. And lastly, we'll wrap up with what's next and how these insights can inform the design of a solution. So just to talk briefly about our methodology, we shared AI voice interview links with 25 practitioners from 20 incubators to really understand your perspective and to gain the full picture. We asked you about the main bottlenecks, the teams involved, the scale of the review, the time and cost in review, and any innovative tools you may have used, and some discussions around how AI can help. And we then used the AI transcriptions and text analytics to find the patterns and understand the insights from your answers. You can go to the next slide. So I think what we saw in the Mentimeter responses also clearly shows the diversity in the room. And we had 20 incubators who took part and did the interviews. And they really came from around the world. We interviewed practitioners from all over, including the Philippines, Kenya, Malawi, and India, just to name a few of them. So this really shows the diversity in the data as well. But now we can move on to the actual insights of the study. So in terms of the distributions, the number of applications really differs quite a lot from program to program. We saw quite a wide range in application volumes and cohort sizes. And selecting 10 entrepreneurs can really mean reviewing hundreds of applications. We actually found that the median program selects 1 in 7 applicants, with some of the more competitive ones accepting less than 1 in 50. But even with these variations, we still found some common challenges amongst the different programs. And one such challenge is that review is typically handled by a team of people, and this is exactly what makes it challenging. Across the programs, we saw that small internal teams handle the initial sifting of applications, which could be reading applications, applying criteria, and building a shortlist. And 2/3 of these then hand over to external reviewers. And what we heard from you was interesting because it was something we actually didn't ask about. But what we heard is that the more reviewers who are involved in the reviewing process actually makes it more challenging to align and to remain consistent across the entire process. And I think I will hand over to Guliz just to chat about the time costs.
Thanks, Kim. So if you move on, some other things that we have heard from you guys. We also asked you about how much time it takes, and we got similar answers to what you guys have said in the initial exercise we did here. Although there's a big diversity in the application volumes and some diversity as well in how much time it goes with like first pass screening, depending on if it's manual or maybe a little bit more automated. Even if you just think about 5 minutes per application in the first pass, even that adds up, as we have seen in the exercise, right? So although it sounds manageable, when you do the math, you actually realize the small minutes really add up to a lot of time. And this is just about the first pass. Then what about reviewing the shortlist, doing the due diligence, having panels and deliberations for hours to select the final list? So overall, it takes a lot of time. I think we established that already. And okay, this is something that takes a lot of time from us. Can we turn this into money? How much of this is like, what is this costing us? What we have learned is mostly screening is managed more operationally and not financially. It's budgets are more set in the overall program level. And at least 6 of the programs that joined the interview said that they are not tracking the screening cost separately, and it is really absorbed into the staff time. So we are not really seeing the efficiency of the screening, and we are not using this as a KPI. From what we have gathered, it really changes how much of the percentage of the budget is going to this, from 2% to 60%, again, depending on the application process, how much it is automated. If there's a really extreme due diligence need involved, then it can take a lot more time. But most organizations report around 5 to 20% of the budget going into screening. So it is taking a lot of time. It is taking a lot of team members involved and some external reviewers. It is also taking a lot of money. So next question is naturally is, what are the some innovative tools that you have already tried? We also wanted to understand this. And more than half of the programs said that they have experimented with different tools and processes to improve the review process. And again, interestingly, what we have heard is one thing that didn't really work is trying to use some existing complex solution and changing the whole process of reviewing. It doesn't work. There's like steep learning curves that has to be adjusted. If it's an existing system, it doesn't really consider the context of your own project. It's hard to align that. And what worked is that looking at the existing workflows and doing small interventions on adjusting. And so one of the programs who joined the interview said that they introduced AI into the first pass of the selection process, and they reported to reduce the time from 15 to 20 minutes to 5 minutes, and reducing their reliance on external reviewers by half, which is quite a good number. So we have seen a few of the challenges. We quickly talked about some of the insights, which, like Kim said, really aligns also with the literature scan, although there was not much research done around it, right? And also really aligns with the exercise that we already done just before. So if you try to drill this down, we see 5 friction points for a well-designed solution to address. Small minutes become big costs, and it can become a silent killer. And more reviewers, like you also mentioned in the chat, means less consistency. So there has to be a balance in terms of how much team member time we're spending and how much consistency we want. It's always hard to balance. And simple solutions outperform complex ones. We also saw that information gaps create hidden workload, which means, for example, you need to do some due diligence. You're trying to understand from their proposals and the data that they have shared if this can be validated, if that is aligned with the project goal. And all of this can create some hidden workload, further interviews, further maybe external research. that really create some time cost as well to the team. And last but not least, definitely, context is not something optional. Whatever solution there is, it has to be able to create a solution that is equitable across teams, across languages, across cultural context, especially if you're working with underserved or marginalized groups. So using a generally trained AI model, we have seen so many research that it does not fit the different cultures. It's quite Westernic and weird. So with all of that, I also don't want to take a lot of time to also hear your thoughts on this. Maybe I take a step back and say, impact intelligence. We are a bunch of nerds that likes to play with innovative tools and bring that into the impact space, because impact spaces where we have small teams and small budgets and not a lot of time, but we are trying to create big impact. So it's where we really need to be able to use the tools to make us more efficient. So among other things, one thing that we have been working on is we work with foundations on their application review process and due diligence, designing processes that is built specifically for their program needs. We integrate AI in ways that it's transparent, equitable, explainable, and most importantly, coming into a human-led process as an assistant. So I'm saying this because we are coming from this conversation with the expertise in this, and mixing that expertise with everything that we have heard from you during this call, but also in the interviews. We're thinking this could just be a good suggestion, a way to go. So first step would be mapping the process. What is the current workflow look like? What are the steps? And more importantly, where are the bottlenecks set? Where are the money pits and the time pits that you are spending so much of your effort in? And the other thing is to also note is what are the commonalities between different processes of different organizations? And what is working already well that we don't need to change? If there's already something working well, why do we need to push some new innovative tool in it? No need, right? So we have to map this process. Second thing is finding the common ground. There is a process, there are different frameworks that each organization will apply. And these things are quite context relevant and important, and it will not 100% align. So we need to identify what parts can be standardized across programs and processes, and what must stay flexible to fit into these different contexts. Then, after identifying the process, the challenges, and what works, then we can talk about designing what fits. What are the different layers that AI or text analytics or an innovative solution can come in to the existing workflow without disrupting it, without disrupting the process, just fitting there to help the process? Then we can design that fit and we can build it together. So it is something that can be used by hopefully multiple programs, multiple incubators, where it has the flexibility to fit into the context that it needs to fit. So with that, I hope it gave some things to think about and some motivation to talk about it in the next cats. I'll leave it back to the Pollinate team.
Thank you. Thanks, Kim and Gulis. Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. No, it's really interesting how I think it validates a lot of the experiences that we were hearing earlier, and also gives a lot more context into maybe how AI support can actually fit into selection and screening, and how it can actually support these organizations, the incubators in the room, in kind of streamlining, but at the same time also being mindful of the kind of context, as you mentioned, Bulis, that they're in, and that it's able to support. So I will open the floor to questions from the group for Gulis and Kim, or even to Sophia if you have anything for the cats. But while I do that, we'll have 5 minutes for that. If you already are interested now learning about the context and what the cat is, we'd love to welcome you to be part of the cat. This is our interest for. Oh, Gulis says, is that a cat also, Gulis? So
No,
cute.
I'm a dog person.
It's a dog. Oh,
So that's a dog, one of the dogs.
yeah. Nice. And Sophia's also linked the interest form on the chat. So we'll take about 5 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand and you can ask your question. And while we're having the questions as well, you can feel free to enter the interest form. It'll take you less than 5 minutes actually to answer it, just to let us know that you are interested to be part of this cat. All right, opening the floor for any questions. Anything coming up for people in the room? Or maybe they're all busy answering the interest form, so. Thank you, Dr. Renita. Right. If you have no questions, you can all think about it. Maybe there's still things that you are processing also from what was shared. So we'll be happy to send the slides as well for included in the thank you note so that you can also study. And then if you want to let us know if you have any questions post session, we'd be happy to get back to you once we also get them to Kulas and Kim and Nico if there's anything from there that we can answer. Alrighty, I think everybody has the interest form. If you were answering, great. Hopefully you'll be part of the cat with us. And I just wanted to go to our next part. So just wanted to do a quick breakout with the people in the room so that we can also get some of your experiences, as Louis mentioned, like what, and these are the three main questions that we would really love to explore with all of you in the breakout rooms. And let me put this in the chat in a bit, but just to highlight. So the first question is really around how much of what we've heard from the presentation really matches your own experiences and challenges with application screening. And then in connection to that, what's missing or needs deeper exploration? So is there anything from your own experiences that you feel like maybe wasn't highlighted here, or a nuance that would help get us to a deeper exploration? And then the last question really is there any concerns or reservations about using AI-powered tools for review? All right. So maybe what we'll do is we can do 2 breakout rooms.
Yeah, okay, I'll set it up.
All right, thanks, Kavya. And then we can start answering these questions. So we'll have maybe like 5 minutes to do this, 5 to 8 minutes. And then we just really want to also get your thoughts around what was shared. All right, Kavya is also, okay, great. So the breakout rooms have been set up. You can now join. We'll see you there. And then we can come back and discuss after.
Uh, um, Kavya, there's I think two rooms.
2 rooms, yes.
Oh, okay. So we will not have four. No more four.
Uh, Rod was just saying that she wanted 2 just now, so I just created 2.
Oh, okay, okay. Thanks. Thanks. I didn't see that. Okay, we'll do
Okay.
that. Alanis, will be great to see you in one of the breakout rooms. And Lut as well. And Zarawu. Yes. Thanks.
have we lost Rod?
Rod's coming back 5 seconds.
She's in another, she's on the breakout.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't
thanks.
think the breakout room is closed as yet.
Thanks.
Great. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for the great conversation. I know we were like intimate rooms, but I think it was a great discussion with our room. And then I'm sure it was great for the other group as well. We didn't get to pick who was going to volunteer, so I'm just going to quickly go through what we talked about a little bit. So I think everybody in the room kind of agreed that they really identified with the experiences and the challenges that were highlighted in the research so far. I think one thing that stood out for one of the people in the room was I guess deeper exploration on like serial entrepreneurs and how that affects screening. Also, serial entrepreneurs meaning like those who come back again and again to apply for programs, and that actually taking time away because the organization has to identify them, actually look through and be like, hey, this is the same person again applying, maybe with a different name. And then I have to kind of screen them out, which already took 5 minutes away from my time, which I could have dedicated for someone else who actually fit the bill or is not the same entrepreneur. So that was one thing that was highlighted. Interesting thing was about the AI reservations. Not a lot of reservations from the group. I think what the group wanted was to find out how we can actually like move forward collectively. So I think that's interest in the cat as well as like just like the use case for the actual tool was one thing that was a question, as well as thinking about not losing nuance, especially when it comes to cultural minorities, gender minorities, things like that. I think that was highlighted also, where maybe there are things that would not necessarily be captured easily in like written form, but like, is there a way where it will not be screened out by AI just because usually like these certain minorities are screened out when using AI tools. So that was what the discussion was so far. I hope I captured it well. Andre Nupte and Mapalo, if there's anything you'd like to add, please let me know. All right, great. So I'd like to give time for the other group to also share their quick insights.
Yeah, thanks, Rod. I can go quickly. So yeah, Mark and Aubrey gave a lot of great feedback. I think one of the things that we had talked about, they agreed that it really resonated with their work, and we talked about different levels of review. And it was kind of agreed that this would be really helpful to kind of get past that first kind of hump, and that the sort of additional jury reviews might not be quite the same sort of use case, and that those are still really important for the screening process. And then I think something that was noted, that we would really have to be explicit in the call for applications, and consent would sort of have to be required or have to be disclosed, that we, if this is something that is moving ahead, that AI is used. And then we were also talking about what sort of existing tools they've seen that might be out there. And the feedback was that, people, like I think Gulis had mentioned in what you were presenting earlier, that we're probably using embedded AI tools already, like Gemini and things, to automate certain things, but not anything that's sort of specific to screening and selection. And then I can see Mark also put a comment in, I think, after we closed. So I'll pick that up in the comment. I think, Mark, this is really, really important. And I know even in my prior work, that sort of character and value of the promoter, and are they coachable, will they engage, can be really hard. But I do think there's and I don't know, maybe Gulis, we could talk about this later once we get the cat going, about how do we actually incorporate that within the screening process, like character assessments and things like that, because I think that there is a possibility, I think, to do that, and that's unfortunately one of the hardest things to sort of assess is the character of the founders. But I think that's really great feedback, Mark, and I think something that we could look at moving forward. So I think hopefully I got most of it. Mark, Aubrey, feel free to chip in, or Soph and Alanis, in case I missed anything. But thanks guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Ariel, and thanks for group 2 for sharing. I just launched the feedback form, so if you can please fill this out, it'll take 2-3 minutes to do it. It'll be helpful for us to know what we did well and what we can improve for the next convening. But thank you so much to all of you who have stayed until the end. Hopefully this is also a sign that you'd like to build this tool with us, with Impact Intelligence and Pollinate Impact, and join the CAT. Again, the link is in the chat, or if it's not, I'm sure Sophia is going to share it with all of us here after the call today. There we go. Thank you, Soph. So if you'd like to join, again, if you're curious as well, then this is the sign for you to come join us and see how we can actually improve screening and selection, and maybe take those 325 hours and actually use them for a vacation, right? So hopefully through this CAT, we can actually get there. But thank you again so much, everybody, for joining today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you to Gulis and Kim and Nico from Impact Intelligence for partnering with us for this CAT and for joining us today and sharing their insights. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.